So what we do in the modern era is surpassed by other people in the modern era and other people in prior generations. So I'll give you an example. In 1993, I traveled to Costa Rica with my significant other, and I was in incredible shape. So I'm 31 years of age at the time, and swimming 3 days a week, working out every morning. I don't miss. I haven't missed a day of workout 2 or 3 days a year in my life, basically. So physical activity as a kid, and then started the workouts when I was 8, and then age 10 I got my first weight set. But I was always into working out. Fitness athlete first, golf, tennis, martial arts, running, all these other sports came, subsequent to fitness. Fitness is my #1 sport. So, and you don't get hurt. If you do fitness right, you don't get hurt. You can get hurt in golf, and many people do. You can get hurt in all the other sports that I mentioned. Fitness, if you do it right, very challenging. Even very challenging, it's not easy to get hurt. You'd have to make a misstep. You'd have to trip. You'd have to not properly warm up. You'd have to be keeping stress somewhere, or have an injury that's not healed, or fall off of something, or overdo it. So if you avoid all those, in tripping, you got to be aware of your surroundings, and you don't want to push it too hard with too much weight on your body in the gym. You will not get hurt, and that's the secret. So fitness is lovely because you get a lot of benefit and you don't get hurt. Sports, love them. Camaraderie, skill, competition, it's all wonderful, but you get hurt doing sports. I don't know anyone who's done a sport and hasn't gotten hurt. That's just the name of the game. Jiu-jitsu, I retired from jiu-jitsu at age 50, and I'd gotten hurt 3 different places on my body in 3 subsequent months. And my girlfriend at that time, different girlfriend from Costa Rica, she said, that's it. You've done your thing. You've gotten 16 years out of jiu-jitsu. You've contributed what you could to the art, and you've worked with others and bonded and helped them, and they've helped you. It's been lovely. Time to move on to your next trip, your next expedition, your next journey. So anyway, I did. And back to this trip to Costa Rica. So I was extremely fit, more testosterone, 31, let's say, and had a girlfriend. So, regular intimacy, more testosterone, younger age, and I'm running up hills in San Francisco like a Marine. And I still do that, but I was better shape at age 31 than I am today. But I could kick my age 31 self's butt, because my age 31 self did not know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I started that in 1997, introduced to it, but really joined gym in 98. So anyway, we get to Costa Rica. I'm extremely fit, just tremendous fitness level. And I'm out there swimming. I'm out there doing hiking. I'm doing push-ups. I'm doing my workout. And we go on a trip, an excursion, with some Costa Rican people working on the cruise ship. And these were people who worked 7 days a week on the event. So they're lugging stuff around for the tourists. And then they're surfing before and after work. And the one guy was shorter than I was. He was probably 23, Costa Rican gentleman. A lot of Spanish in his blood. He had that thick hair from the Moors. And he's pressing up the raft, and he's pressing like this. And I have some ab muscles here. This guy had, it would look like a bodybuilder. He's, pumping up the raft. And I'm looking at this guy going, holy smokes. Well, he had better genetics than I do for muscles, but he's also doing stuff 7 days a week, nonstop, and he's 22, 23 years of age. So that was this guy. And I did see him surf, and he was phenomenal. So he's an animal, far surpassed me in animal ability. Then on that trip, we go on another excursion, and we've got a whitewater rafting guide. She's an American. She's built like an East German swimmer from the 70s and 80s. She's just a big, strong person in between a mesomorph and an endomorph. I mean, she's built like, you know, as big as a female as I've seen. You know, bigger genetics than Serena Williams, bigger genetics. So her shoulders were about out to here. And she had been a whitewater rafting guide in Colorado. Very sweet, soft-spoken person, but my gosh, I mean, she could pick the raft up on her own. And she was, you know, she looked like a power lifter, an Olympic lifter, power lifter. And she had played water polo and was a swimmer, you know, and I looked at her and I said, my gosh, look at the human potential and, you know, based on genetics and activity levels. So they're, you know, we keep ramping up the athletic ability and the physical ability. And so here we are with people living in the modern world. Then we get to a place where there's a portage. We didn't actually have to carry our equipment. They brought it up in, you know, towing things with off-road vehicles, our rafts, our equipment, our tents, etc., food. And we have to cross the river, the Pacuare River, at Rio Pacuare, in the forest, the rainforest of Costa Rica. So what happened there? Well, we meet this jungle young man who was age 19, and he spoke Spanish and the local tribal language. And I spoke a little bit of Spanish, so I'm, you know, doing what I can to communicate with him. But he's taking all of us. We must have had 17, 18 people. And he's got to get us across on this little cart that had pulley wheels on it over this cable to the other side. And he doesn't have any hand crank like this. And he's putting everyone, including that whitewater rafting guide who had to have weighed 200 pounds, this female. You know, they talk Serena Williams, they list her weight at like 140. I'm 170. And she's has way more size and musculature than I do. So she's got to be at least my weight, Serena Williams. But anyway, this woman was about 200 pounds of tissue and just, you know, a large person. So he had to get us all the way to the other side. How did he do it? He sits in the front of this little cart. It's about this big. It's like being on a tray, basically, with some sides on it. And it's got pulley wheels over the cable. And this Outback Costa Rican native with no gloves on just pulls us on the cable across. And he pulls us, then he has to pull himself back, get another person. This guy, talk about monkey ability. He's got a back on him, like, you know, like Bruce Lee. He's thicker than Bruce Lee. 19-year-old kid, very friendly. This is normal stuff. He's probably doing rafting trips, you know, several times a day, and that's how he makes his living to help provide food for his family. I don't think he had kids yet, but, you know, at age 19 he may have, but I did see other people a little older than he was living in the outback with their kids. So he did that, and at the end of him taking me across, I was one of the last people, I said in Spanish, "Tu puedes subir este árbol?" Can you climb up this tree? And he says, "Oh, sí, no pasa nada, no hay problema." So he could climb this tree, and I figured he was going to use one of those rope type contraptions and pull himself up. But he didn't. He goes to the tree, and we're in the rainforest where everything's wet. It's misting, it's, you know, 82 degrees, 90 sometimes, but it's just always misting, cooling us off. So he goes right up to the tree, and he climbs it with his bare hands, with bare feet. Got bare feet, bare hands, and a pair of, you know, surf shorts on. They used to call them surf bags in the 80s. And he goes right up the side of this thing. He touches the top, he looks down at me, and I, you know, give him the thumbs up, and then he comes back down. I mean, he could have done that for 20 times, 30 times, I don't know. But you talk about the fitness athlete, then you've got these people that are advanced, like this Costa Rican surfer, and then you go one higher level and you've got the genetics, the whitewater rafting guide, 200-pound female. Then you've got the Outback person who lives in nature, eats natural food, and is more like an animal in his physical capabilities than he is like an athlete at a college in the United States or in the world. So these are the levels that you get. You got Green Berets, you got all these people. I'd like to see a Green Beret, they'd have to train for it, but go up the side of a tree like this person did. This person had monkey capabilities. So make sure you stay hydrated, like the rainforest. They stay green because they're getting misted all the time. And we're here with a Kualao mountain range off in the distance. So I'm Sifu Slim, wishing you all the best in your health, fitness, wellness, mind, body, and spirit, karmic, ancestral. The natural world is where we need to be. So we don't always have bars on trees, but we'd find a way. I throw a martial arts belt over a tree branch, and then I've got the same thing. I've got handles to do my stretches, my squats, and my chin-ups and pull-ups. So I'm going to do a few more. So you're motivating me. My presence with you is motivating me. Take a look at sifuslim.com. Download one of my books. The first one, Sedentary Nation, the history of physical movement, with a wellness guide, fitness guide, and my personal zany biography mixed in. And then take a look at The Aging Athlete. I think that's the good progression. Start with the first one. It's about everybody. And then The Aging Athlete. If we moved when we were kids, we were athletes. If we worked in contracting, we were athletes. They call that industrial athletes. And so we are originally athletes. We did a lot of kicking in the womb. So that's an athletic move. And we survived the womb, 8+ months in there. And then you come out and you're moving all the time until such a time as you are taught to be sedentary. So that's not a good thing. So I'm going to give this another shot. Aloha, brothers and sisters. Peace.